I got the moves. I got the moves. Oh, I'm making moves. You gotta move. You gotta make the city move. Like, whoa. I make the city move. I got the move.
So the NBA draft is soon, and there's a lot of rumors circulating about what team will draft who. But drafting rookies is not only a big part of draft day, there are blockbuster trades too, which can change the entire landscape of the NBA. Last year we had the Jimmy Butler trade, and with the new rumors of a Kawhi Leonard deal, we may see some big moves happening tomorrow night. I have 4 trades in particular that could happen, and I'll be going over those in today's video. If you are new and enjoy the video, be sure to subscribe for more NBA content. But with that being said, let's get right into this top 4. Number 1. The Phoenix Suns. We all know the Suns have the top pick in this upcoming NBA draft, and I don't think there's a chance in hell they'd trade this pick. But the Suns aren't satisfied with the number 1 pick in the draft. They want more. That's why rumors have appeared recently that the Phoenix Suns want to move another pick of theirs into the top 10. The most popular trade that I think the Suns could make, and the one that definitely would make the most sense, would be trading their 16th pick, Marquise Chris, Allen Williams for cap reasons, and Brandon Knight for also cap reasons, to the Memphis Grizzlies for their 4th overall pick and Chandler Parsons. The Grizzlies are very open to trading their pick, as the lottery didn't fall in their favour. However, with this deal, the receiver would need to take on Chandler Parsons' contract, which is $50 million over the next 2 years. For this reason, I actually don't see the Suns making the deal. I don't know if they really want to take on Parsons' payroll. I mean, of course, they might do it just so they can get that extra young prospect to help them contend, but Chandler's contract is going to make them a bit hesitant. I honestly don't know whether any other team would want to make a trade with the Suns though. There is a chance that maybe the Cavs will trade their pick or a team like the Mavericks, but it's not seeming likely at all. So it seems like the Suns will probably trade for the Memphis pick. But why would the Suns trade up in the draft? Who are they wanting? Well, I think the Suns are specifically targeting one player. He is Trae Young, out of Oklahoma University. Trae Young is being named the next Steph Curry and will help the Suns' backcourt stardom. With the loss of Eric Bledsoe, the Suns have had a shallow point guard position, with Tyler Ulis not playing as well as he did last year. Of course, I think the Suns should still take a dominant big man like Ayton or Bamba first overall, but trading up in the draft for a point guard like Trae Young is not a bad idea. Just imagine a future big 3 of Ayton, Booker, and Trae Young. That would be insane. That's why there is a good chance of this trade happening and definitely changing the future of the NBA forever. Number 2. Kawhi Leonard. As I mentioned at the start of the video, Kawhi Leonard recently requested a trade, and that could mean teams will want to pinch Kawhi Leonard on draft night. With reports leaking that the Spurs would not let Kawhi be traded to a Western team, it really has slimmed down the amount of teams able to trade for Kawhi Leonard. Just for this video's purposes, I'll be focusing on NBA draft day scenarios, nothing else. If I'm completely honest, there's not too many realistic trades, but I'll do the best I can. The first trade involves the New York Knicks. The trade will look something like this. The Knicks trade their 9th pick in the NBA draft, Frank Ntilikina and Tim Hardaway Jr. for Kawhi Leonard. This is a great deal for the Knicks and Kawhi. The Knicks get a start to pair alongside their future young superstar, Kristaps Porzingis, and it's reported that Leonard's family wants him to play in New York, so it's a win-win. The Spurs also get a decent package with potential all-star Frank Ntilikina, Tim Hardaway Jr., who absolutely shone this past season and proved he deserved his massive contract. They also get that 9th pick, which could possibly get the Michael Porter Jr. If Porter can become a star and not be haunted by injuries, this would be an absolute steal for the Spurs. The next deal involves the Philadelphia 76ers. The 76ers are one of the top 5 teams chasing Kawhi Leonard, and everything they offer could be enough to sway the Spurs in their favour on draft night. The trade would look something like this. The 76ers trade Markelle Fultz, Jared Bayless, and of course, their 10th pick in the NBA draft to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard. I talked about this in my Kawhi Dynasty video, card appearing now if you haven't watched it already, so you can after this video, but to keep things short, I basically said the 76ers is a great destination for Kawhi Leonard because the 76ers are wanting something that will take them over the line. I think that one of those players that can do that is Kawhi Leonard. The 76ers need a great wing player. Right now, they only have a superstar center and a point guard. That's why they are targeting players like LeBron, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard. This would be an amazing fit, and this could be an epic dynasty, and who knows, maybe if the 76ers free up some cap space for next season, then in the 2019 free agency, they could add another piece to the potential dynasty. So it makes sense for the 76ers to do this deal. But does it make sense for the Spurs? Well, they'd get Markelle Fultz and Bayless, Bayless is really only there as a cap filler. I mean, there's no way the 76ers are trading Simmons with Fultz too, but Fultz. Now that's where the biggest question lies. Can Markelle Fultz become as good as he was made out to be? Can he fix his jump shot? He has a ton of potential and has shown it in games, and I'm sure the Spurs will manage his situation well, but I'm not really sure if the Spurs will think he's enough in return for Kawhi. That's what's really going to probably send the situation down the drain. The 10th pick will probably give the Spurs Kevin Knox, which again, I don't think the Spurs will believe is enough for a top 5 player in the NBA. The final trade is definitely a stretch, but it involves the Cleveland Cavaliers. As we all know, LeBron James hits free agency this summer, and the Cavs would obviously love him to stay, and trading for Kawhi Leonard is going to be a last-ditch effort to do so. Reports have come out saying this potential trade is true. This could either work really well in the favour for the Cavs, or they could fall flat on their face. The trade would look something like this. Cleveland trade Jordan Clarkson, Ante Zizic, and Cedi Osman and the 8th overall pick in return for Kawhi Leonard. For the Cavs, as I've mentioned, this is going to turn out in two possible ways. Either this move is enough to satisfy LeBron James and he stays, or it doesn't and they just wasted a pick that would have helped them with their future rebuild. If this trade happens, they are obviously not hoping for the latter, but it is a possibility that could happen. Honestly, the only reason for this trade is for the chance to maybe keep LeBron and that he may stay with them for a few more seasons. For the Spurs, it's a decent trade, but nothing special. They get some young talent and the pick they get from the Cavs could land the Michael Porter Jr., which would be fantastic, but other than that, there's nothing great about this trade. One thing I have heard is that the Suns would trade the number 1 pick for Leonard. Let's get this clear. This is not happening. I know most of you know this by now, but I still see people seeing this as a potential trade, but it won't happen. Trust me. For one, the Suns have said that they don't want to trade their number 1 pick. I mean, that would be so stupid. And the Spurs have also said that they don't want to trade with the Western Conference team, which is fair enough. So I need to stop hearing this as an option. But in my opinion, if the Spurs do want to trade on draft night, then they should probably go with the Knicks. That's their best option on draft night. Other than that, we may need to watch out for Boston later on in the postseason. Number 3, the Boston Celtics. This actually leads on perfectly to my number 3 trade, the Boston Celtics potentially trading up in the NBA draft for Mo Bamba. Rumors have come out that the Celtics would like to try and get a top pick so they can select Mo Bamba, who I personally believe is the best player in the draft. Go watch my video on that, but I do think there is a realistic chance of this happening. I think there is 2 or 3 teams that the Celtics could trade with so they can do this drafting. The first team is the Memphis Grizzlies. I've already talked about them. We know they don't want their pick anymore, but they also don't want Chandler Parsons' contract. That's what makes things really difficult. The Celtics have a great roster, and trading for Parsons will stuff that up completely, and it wouldn't be worth it. I'm not going to even mention a trade because it's so unrealistic for the Celtics to make a deal, unfortunately. So who else can they trade with to get Mo Bamba? I've been hunting for some realistic options and I got 2 more. The first one is the Cavaliers, but this one I don't really see happening. I mean, if the Celtics maybe trade Hayward and Brown or something like that, then maybe this deal would go through, but I don't think the Cavs are wanting to get finessed again by the Celtics and won't probably trade with their biggest current rival again. But there's always a chance. Also, I think that Bamba won't fall lower than 6, so him falling to 8th is really unlikely. The final team that the Celtics could trade with on draft night to get that pick is the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks may not want to risk a pick on a potential star that could be a bust, so that's why trading Jaylen Brown to the Mavericks for the pick is good for the Mavs, as they have seen and know what Jaylen Brown can achieve in the NBA. This also gives the Celtics the 5th pick in the NBA draft and the chance to draft Mo Bamba, which would be absolutely crazy. Number 4, the Cleveland Cavaliers. Unfortunately for the Cavs, LeBron James has not revealed whether he intends to stay in Cleveland or not, so this leaves the Cavs in a tough place. They could either keep their 8th pick and rebuild, or try their best and make some trades to hopefully please LeBron James so he stays. I have already talked about the Kawhi trade, but are there any other trades they could make? Well, the first one is one that I've already talked about in my Cavaliers What's Next video, and that is Kemba Walker. Kemba has been in trade rumors the last few years, and it may look like his time is finally up in Charlotte. Kemba would be a great fit in Cleveland, as the Cavs' 2 main point guards have been underperforming a lot in the new system and throughout the playoffs. However, the Hornets have been very specific on what they want for Kemba. They don't want to lose the deal, so it could be hard to make a trade. But I do think the Cavs have something the Hornets may want. This is what a trade would look like between the two teams. The Cavs trade the 8th overall pick and Jordan Clarkson for Kemba Walker. This is a great trade for Charlotte. They get a potential start in someone like Trae Young in the draft and could develop Jordan Clarkson well in their system. For the Cavs, they get Kemba, which I've already talked about the benefits before. The next trade the Cavs can make is for CJ McCollum. As we know, the Blazers were swept in the playoffs, and some say it's time to blow things up by either trading McCollum or Lillard. I think it's more likely for the Blazers to trade McCollum, and here's how the Cavs can try swoop in and snatch him before any other team does. The trade would look like this. The Cavs trade Jordan Clarkson, J.R. Smith, and the 8th overall pick for CJ McCollum. This is a pretty decent trade for the Blazers. They get a young Jordan Clarkson and that pick, and the only reason why J.R. Smith is there is because of his financial purposes. This is a decent trade, and if the Cavs can somehow manage to make both of those work, then even if LeBron still leaves, they have a decent team that could possibly even be a top 5 team in the East, because they still have Kevin Love and potentially George Hill still as well. And that will conclude the top 4. If any of these trades happen, it's bound to make the NBA change the next NBA season. This offseason is going to be absolutely crazy. But what do you guys think of this? Will these trades happen? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop it a like and subscribe. But with that being said, I am out. Peace.
Ooh, everybody know I'm next. Ooh, everybody know I'm next. Ooh, 100,000 on my neck. Ooh, I be running up a check. Ooh, I be fucking on your ex. Ooh, everybody know I'm next. Ooh, everybody know I'm next. Ooh, everybody know I'm next. Ooh, I might go fuck on your bitch. Ooh, I might go fuck on your bitch. Ooh, I might go bust on her lip. Ooh, I might go bust on her lip. Ooh, everybody know I'm next.